does a 62-year-old look like? Just take a second, picture someone in your mind. What do you see? Do you see gray hair? Someone who maybe walks a little slower? Maybe someone who's a grandma? Now, what if I put up pictures of 5 different 62-year-olds on the screen? Same chronological age. Different people, different bodies, lifestyles, different health histories. So which one looks 62? All of them do, because there is not one way to be 62. And that's exactly why I think we need to change the way we talk about aging. I had an experience recently that brought this home for me. I was getting ready to go on vacation, and I asked my neighbor if she would mind watering my plants while I was gone. She declined and explained that she really wasn't comfortable navigating the steps to my deck, small set of stairs, and that she was having a lot of pain. And then she said something to me like, I'm 62. And I thought, what? Wait, I'm 62. And I have to admit, I was surprised. Based on my previous interactions and observations with her, I had assumed she was probably in her late 70s. And here I was, making an assumption about age, the very thing I tell you not to do. But it was such an aha moment for me. I mean, here we are, 2 women, 2 neighbors, exactly the same chronological age. Yet our physical abilities and our experiences of being 62 were very different. I want to be clear about something. You cannot know someone's story from their age. This is something gerontologists have understood for a very long time. As we get older, we do not become more alike. In many ways, we become much more different. Think about it. Everything that we accumulate in our life over 60, 70, 80, or 90 years, our health histories, our relationships, what we did for a living, who we've lost, the education, environment, genetics, our financial circumstances, our choices. All of these things contribute to who we are today. That's why sometimes you'll hear people say, if you've met one older person, you've met one older person. Yet our society loves to put people into these age categories, seniors, or worse, elderly. Nobody wants that word. It's out. It's as if all these millions of different people somehow become one because they've reached a particular birthday. Now imagine doing that with other groups. So why do we do it at 65? Chronological age tells us one thing very accurately. How many years have you been alive? That's it. That's all it tells us. It doesn't tell us how strong you are. It doesn't tell me whether you can climb 6 steps or if you have good cognitive health. It doesn't tell me how well you sleep or whether you have meaningful relationships or purpose. And it certainly doesn't tell me what you're capable of doing next. And that's where the conversation around health span becomes so interesting. Lifespan asks, how long will I live? Health span asks, how well can I live during those years? And really, that's what matters. So you've heard people talking about maybe biological age, and that's very simply chronological age is the number of years you've been alive. Biological age attempts to describe how your body is aging physiologically. And there are very sophisticated tests that look at such things as biomarkers and epigenetic changes. But I don't think most of us need that kind of test to start paying attention to how well we're functioning. I think we know that. There are much simpler indicators that we can kind of take a look at. Can I climb a flight of stairs comfortably? How quickly do I walk? Can I get out of a chair without pushing myself up with my arms? Can I get down on the floor and get back up? How is my balance? How is my grip strength? We're hearing more and more about grip strength and how important that is for aging. Am I maintaining muscle? Can I carry my own groceries? How well am I sleeping? And I would go beyond physical health. Do I have something that gives me a reason to get up in the morning? Am I engaged with life? Together, these things will tell us something incredibly important. How am I functioning in the life I'm living right now? And more importantly, where might I want to invest in my future self? There's another piece of the conversation that I've been thinking about. I recently listened to a podcast with Chip Conley, love his show, and he had an ageism activist on there. You probably have heard of Ashton Applewhite. She was very critical of some of the longevity influencers because she believes part of that can become very anti-aging and also kind of extreme. And it made me think, I do not want that to be my message, okay? I'm not interested in helping women fight aging. I'm not trying to make 62 look like 32. And I definitely don't think we have to be radical in our approach and give up all of life's greatest pleasures. I love my evening cocktail. I'm not going to give that up, but I'm definitely modifying how much I drink. I find a balance, and that's the key in everything. Aging is not a disease, and getting older isn't something we should apologize for. So to me, this work is about something very different. It's about living our greatest life, regardless of age or anything else. I'm not anti-aging. I'm pro-living. Something else about ageism. We often direct that towards ourselves. You may say something like, God, everything hurts. Just getting old sucks. I recently heard my own 40-year-old yoga instructor say that last week. 40, and she's already saying it's over. So sometimes there are some real changes that are associated with aging. I'm not suggesting otherwise. Things change, our bodies. We have health conditions. Life gets in the way. But if our explanation for everything is, well, I'm old, we can begin creating limits that may change everything. We may move less because we think we're supposed to slow down. We stop challenging ourselves. We stop exposing and trying to meet new people. We stop dreaming. And eventually, our beliefs about aging can start to influence our behavior. That's why mindset is an important part about aging. Positive aging doesn't mean pretending everything is wonderful. It means refusing to automatically assume that decline is inevitable simply because another candle appeared on your birthday cake. And that brings me back to my neighbor. 2 women, both 62. One wasn't comfortable climbing 6 steps. The other happens to be someone who thinks about houseband for a living. And neither one of us defines 62. We both do. And so does every other 62-year-old. And that's the point. There is no single way to be a certain age. The age does not tell me whether you're healthy or happy. It doesn't tell me if you're lonely or if you're strong. And it doesn't tell me whether the greatest chapters of your life have already happened or is still waiting. So let's stop asking, how old am I? And start asking, how am I? How is my strength? How about my mobility? Can I get down on the ground and play with children? Can I get up from the pool and, without looking like a fool? What gives my life meaning? And what am I excited about? And where might I be struggling? And what can I influence today that might make my life better 10, 15, 20 years from now? Those questions are much more interesting than the number on your license plates. And this is really the heart of what bold, not old means to me. It's not about denying age. It's about embracing it while refusing to be defined by it. I'm 62. I'm proud to be 62. And I hope next year to be 63. And then maybe 72, 82, I don't know, maybe 92. Because growing older means I'm still here. But while I'm here, I want to live. I want to be curious, strong, have great relationships in my life. I want to continue with purpose, adventures, and dreams. And I want to keep asking, what's next? Because the goal isn't to stay young, it's to stay engaged in my life. And that's what Healthspan means to me. And that's what it means to create a life worth getting older for. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video and share it. How old are you? And what is something about you that completely defies what people expect from someone your age? Because aging is inevitable, but no number gets to decide who you are or what's possible next. Live bold.